Okay, I think I'm live. Are we live, guys? Yeah, I think we are. Let me just get this so I'm not too shoved. Right, okay. How we going, guys? So I wanted to play this old video. Now I don't have that long, so I just made myself a coffee. Look at that, guys. Coffee. Butter coffee. Now the reason I have butter coffee is because oh, Karen's there. Karen, we're live. Let me tell Karen. It's Karen. Sorry guys, just faffing around. Did I tell Karen we're live? It's a bit of a rush job, guys, so I haven't told everyone we're live. Oh, I have told her, yeah. Okay. Actually, have I or not? Okay. So, how is everyone? Emily found us. Woohoo! Emily, we don't just do the diet here, we do Elvis here as well. Now, this video, don't forget, a lot of people don't actually know that we're on here, so don't expect loads of people to join us. We get a few, but generally, obviously, everyone's used to going over to defending Elvis Presley. But the reason I've been coming on here because I'm trying to build this channel up. So I've been coming on here more often. So I'm quickly now messaging a few people that were on here. Right. Let's have a look. Right, we got a few to do. And of course, the YouTube doesn't seem to let people know we're on here, which is a bit annoying. So I found this old interview. I thought I'm going to try and play it quickly before my wife comes home. Okay, guys? So let's just quickly tell a couple of people. I think I have told Tony. Live diet. Okay, I've told a few people. Not as many as normal, but I am sort of rushing a bit. Anyway, right, let's just hope a few people find this. Right, so this video, I stumbled across this. I'd never watched it before. It's Linda Thompson. We're going to play the second half of it because the first half, I don't know if I've got enough time to play it. So I'm going to play the second half when Linda Thompson gets invited on. This is a very old vintage Linda Thompson. Very old. Not that long after her and Elvis split up. So let's find the spot on the video. The guy in the beginning, we are going to play him, but I didn't want to play him because I'm not sure if I got enough time. So it is very poor quality, but I think you'll find it very interesting. Definitely a first for me finding this interview. Okay, guys, quite a rare Linda Thompson interview.
Sure, you know that.
Thank you for bringing it down to show our viewers. I appreciate it very much. We'll be right back.
Right, so we're going to play this. So just so you know, if I've got enough time, we'll play the first half. But let's get the Linda Thompson bit in. We're reviewing it, so we will be butting in and commenting. I'm a big fan of Linda Thompson. We know that they spent a whole year together every day at first, just after Elvis left. Elvis split up from Priscilla. But then they lasted, I think, 4.5 years maybe. It was on and off. They had their problems. I know there's very strong views about Linda Thompson. I understand she's not popular with everyone. People think she made mistakes, said things she shouldn't have said, exposed things she shouldn't have exposed, spent money she shouldn't have spent. There's financial problems there. But I still think Linda is lovely. She's still beautiful. I love the way she talks about Elvis. I think she had her own career anyway, in her own right, eventually. And I just think she's a really sweet lady that really speaks well of Elvis. And yes, we do have the book. We do read bits from this book as well. This book was sent to me by Linda. Linda, thank you. Please come and join us. Let's just have a listen to this very old vintage interview. I'm going to put your comments on here, okay? Right, remember it's very old.
Linda Thompson.
1978.
Probably the biggest influence on American music in the last 20 years was that of the King, Elvis Presley.
Yeah, Elvis.
We were all fascinated with the incredible career of that great showman.
Of course.
He was a curious mixture of spectacle, soul, and raw energy. Our next guest knew Elvis well. She lived with him for 4.5 years as his lover, confidant, and friend. And I know he was interested in her story. Here is, and welcome her please, Linda Thompson.
So, not long after, remember guys, 1978, so not long after.
Weren't you a former beauty queen?
Of sorts.
What, Memphis?
I was Miss Tennessee.
I mean,
Tennessee.
come on guys, she's beautiful, isn't she? I mean, I completely understand why Elvis fancied her and found her sexy and beautiful. And she's got a lovely personality. We know that there's a film on YouTube called Elvis and the Beauty Queen that stars Don Johnson as Elvis. I know that he looks nothing like Elvis, but I actually quite like the way Don Johnson captures Elvis's humour and the way he is, how charming he is around the ladies. Just the fact that he was a fun guy to be with. Even though that film is low quality and a lot of people hate it because it's Don Johnson playing Elvis, I quite liked it. It's on YouTube. Check it out. Elvis and the Beauty Queen.
How did you meet Elvis?
I met him in '72. I was Miss Tennessee University at the time, and my girlfriend was Miss Rhode Island. She had just moved to Memphis. And we were planning to get a job and go to work and become roommates. And we were invited to a movie theater together to meet him. And I thought, well, you know, he just wants to meet Miss Tennessee. That's very nice. And we went to the theater. We almost didn't go because I wasn't sure. I thought, you know, I was a small town girl, and I thought, oh, this is a big star. You know, I don't.
And it's in the book. You know, I was reading it earlier. It clearly says that Elvis had arranged for everyone to meet up at the Memphian, which is something he did regularly. So it's quite well written about the meeting and how Elvis moved over to her to try and get to know her, how she said to Elvis, after Elvis told her that him and Priscilla were going to had split up and were divorcing very soon, and she said to him, you should have married a Southern girl. And that really resonated with Elvis. Yeah, it really meant a lot to him, and that was the beginning of their relationship.
I don't know what he's going to pull. But he came and sat next to me and pulled the old yawn and stretch of the arm behind the seat bit. And I was very standoffish because I thought he was still married. The news hadn't broken that he was separated. And he said, you know, honey, you realize I'm not married anymore. I said, oh.
But
So
you were
we
put
were
off by
together.
him at first.
I wasn't put off by him. I just had no intentions of getting involved with a married man. You know, I thought he was still married at the time.
Was he?
I thought he was pretty cute.
What was it? What kind of a guy was he? Was he easy to get to know?
Yes, he was.
I thought he was really cute. What kind of a guy was he? Was easy to get to know? The one thing we've learned, guys, from listening to all the interviews of all the different girlfriends, whether it be Ginger or Mindy Miller or Linda, he was very easy to get to know. As soon as you were with Elvis, you felt important. He made you feel special. Elvis had this gift with the ladies.
Very trusting. He was easy to get to know. He was somewhat of a difficult man. He was very paradoxical. He was a very strong figure,
So she just said somewhat of a difficult man. And this, I do get a lot of comments from you guys saying things about Linda, that she said things that you wish she didn't say. Some of you guys really dislike Linda, but I just think she's great. I love her. I think she's great.
very intense man, and yet he needed a mother figure very much in his life.
Wasn't that his nickname for you, Mother?
Mommy, yeah.
Mommy, and that's strange.
Sort of
That's interesting. I find that very interesting. What did you do on your first date?
So look, I can see he's trying to have a little dig. Oh, he called you mummy. I find that very interesting. He's going down the road of having a dig. I hope this interview doesn't turn into a big stab at Elvis. Let's just see. I can't remember how this interview goes.
Our first date,
Was it-
I met him at a theater.
Was it? Well, that was the first date?
Yeah, and then we were invited to his home the next evening, and he took us on a tour of Graceland, and we rode golf carts. And he was very much like a little child. He enjoyed just playing in the yard, you know, playing on his golf carts and riding motorcycles and that kind of thing.
I also read that, have read several things about Graceland, that it was the kind of decor and all was kind of.
So remember this interviewer. Does anyone know the name of this interviewer? Because I have no idea what he's called. Now, he starts to talk about the decor. I do think these interviewers tried to make Elvis out to be a bit odd, a bit weird. I just think he was flamboyant and very interesting. I love the fact that Elvis at Graceland had very outlandish decor. I think it's great. It says a lot about his personality. He was an individual, you know. He wasn't scared to be different. That's what I love about Elvis. Isn't that what we all loved about Elvis when we first discovered him? Because he was different. He did his own thing. He was unique.
Garish and carnival-like.
In a sense it was, but then Elvis was a very outlandish figure in his own right. You know, he was very flamboyant in his lifestyle and his generosity and the way that he dressed. So it was very befitting.
We love Elvis.
He lived a strange life. They made him.
So here we are. Let's see what he's doing. He lived a strange life. This is the problem with the interviewers. They want to portray Elvis in a weird way, in a negative way, because it gets them more viewers. They think that they've got a better interview. I wish instead of doing that, they would just try and show how great he was, how lovely he was, what a great human being he was, what a decent Christian man, a generous, kind man that really did a lot for charity and did a lot for complete strangers.
He surrounded himself with what he called bodyguards, I guess. And,
right, thanks.
Yeah, is that what you call them? The
That's
Memphis
what
Mafia?
the press called it.
And they really didn't let the man go anywhere. He couldn't, like, look, if Bob and I decided we wanted to go have lunch after the show, we could go and have lunch,
Yeah.
you know.
It wasn't so much the people around him.
Right, so just quickly. So we now know it's the Michael Douglas show. Thank you so much. I'm learning. You guys are teaching me. You guys know a lot more than I do. I'm just a trainee. And let's just quickly go back, because I think that question was important. Let's go.
So it was very befitting, I thought.
He lived a strange life. They made him. He surrounded himself with what he called bodyguards, I guess. And
Memphis Mafia.
yeah, is that what
So
you?
look, I'm going to jump in whenever I think he's not being fair. So he's already trying to portray the fact that he had bodyguards around him as if it's odd. I know they're called the Memphis Mafia, which was a nickname, but there's nothing odd about the most famous man in the world who couldn't go anywhere without being mobbed, who had to live his life at night because he couldn't go out during the day because he was, wherever he went, he was literally chased. Yeah. So him being surrounded by bodyguards, there is nothing wrong with that. That was how he could function. When he had protection around him, then he could go out and do his thing. He chose to live at night because that was the easiest way for him to exist. So he lived an upside down life. There's nothing wrong with that. The most famous man on the planet is, I don't see anything wrong in the fact that he would sleep in the day and then go out at night and live at night. Then he could do what he wanted to do.
Call him the
That's
Memphis
what
Mafia.
the press called it.
And they really didn't let the man go anywhere. He couldn't, like, look, if Bob and I decided we wanted to go have.
I have to say that. They really didn't let the man go anywhere. It's rubbish. Elvis was very, very adventurous. Elvis did exactly what he wanted to do. No one stopped Elvis doing anything. He went wherever he wanted. So again, this gentleman, Michael Douglas, he's digging for dirt.
Have lunch after the show, we could go and have lunch, you know.
It wasn't so much the people around him. It was just his lifestyle. He had grown so acclimated to that sort of life that became normal.
I think at the moment, Linda's doing a great job trying to defend Elvis. That's how I see it.
For him.
He
And it
didn't ever
really
express a desire to say, hey, look,
occasionally,
did he ever put on...
No, he never tried disguises. I know what you... I wanted to go to Disneyland so badly.
I am surprised Elvis never tried disguises. Do you believe that, guys? I reckon he probably did. Are there stories out there that show Elvis disguising so he could go out in public? I bet there are. I'm not convinced that he never tried disguises.
And I wanted him to be able to experience Disneyland, something like that. I thought he would really enjoy it. But He had such a presence. You know, he had his own stance, his own walk. I think that no matter what he had done, they would have known him.
Yeah, you were there with him.
But I will agree with that. Elvis's body language was very hard to hide, wasn't it? Come on. The way he walked, moved, even his facial gesture, just everything about Elvis, even from half a mile away, you'd spot him. Yeah? Do we agree with that, guys?
4.5 years. You lived with him for 4.5 years. Did you ever feel like you were kind of penned in like him?
I did, yeah. My girlfriend worked in the office, and she used to often pass my dressing area and say, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair, because it was like living in an ivory tower.
Couldn't he have gone, say, to an island?
Guys, do we agree she is very beautiful? Do we agree Linda Thompson is a stunning woman?
In the Pacific, and bought it and lived on it so he could roam.
I'm sure he could have done much more than he did, but as I said, he had grown so acclimated to that sort of life, it had become normal for him.
Did he eat 3 meals a day? Did he play cards all the time? Did he watch television?
He watched TV a lot, he read a lot.
What kind of books did he read?
Spiritual and political.
Right, and see, we all know this. Now, when this interview came out, around 1978, yeah, I'm not sure what month it was. It wasn't that well known. Like we knew Elvis was a Christian man. He was brought up a very humble upbringing by his parents, Gladys and Vernon, in Tupelo in Mississippi. And he went to gospel church and he loved, he was a real true Christian. But we didn't really know then that he was into the spiritual stuff, meditation, all that kind of stuff, that he was a searcher, that he wanted to understand all religions. We didn't really know that until it all started coming out. Yes, I find it fascinating. Same
thing,
Yeah.
Since he mentioned television, I heard the most outlandish story, and I heard it from, as they say, a reliable source, that he was watching television one day and saw Bob Goulet.
I knew this would be brought up.
And that he took a gun and shot the set out. Didn't he like?
Yeah, even that, the thing where Elvis would shoot the TVs, yeah. They try to make more of it, like, oh my God, he shot a TV, as if, almost like he shot a person, yeah? It was just Elvis messing about. There was nothing serious in it.
Is that true?
I'm sorry.
Did he?
You win some, you lose some.
That's a good thing it wasn't an in-person engagement.
We talked about this.
Evelyn, I sound very ignorant. Evelyn, do you know who the guy is that's being interviewed next to Linda? What is his name? I should know this. I don't. He's a handsome guy. He looks a bit like Elvis, doesn't he? What is the guy's name next to Michael Douglas?
Backstage, it wasn't.
Did he really do that?
Oh yeah.
Emily, you read my mind. Emily.
Didn't he like Bob?
No, it wasn't that he didn't like Bob. It was just that I'm sure there was snow in the TV set or whatever. Maybe it was a bad picture.
So he just shoots the set out.
He was crazy. He had a nickname on his ID bracelet, Crazy. That was his nickname, because he would do...
Yeah, Emily, I recognise his face from the 70s and 80s. He was famous, wasn't he?
Kind of crazy things like that with guns. What? He was a grown-up child with grown-up toys,
That describes it perfectly.
Yeah.
What about...
Well, I wouldn't call him a grown-up child. He was very playful and he loved guns, didn't he? He loved guns from childhood. It's America. Come on, guys. It was very cool. Guns were very cool, weren't they? Especially to a child. I'm from England, but if I was a kid growing up in America, I'd find guns fascinating.
His diet, was it as ridiculous as I read that he was hooked on these awful sandwiches, banana and peanut butter, and he would deep fry them in butter?
Yeah. They're great, aren't they?
So good. Yeah, unless you swallow them, they're terrific.
But they're not the best thing in the world for you to have all the time. No, he did have a very poor diet. Too many eggs, too much pork, and too much beef, not enough fish and chicken. He never ate fish, as a matter of fact.
And did you go with him?
Let me just do this. So, Martha, Robert Goulet, yes. Now that brings back memories. Martha, are you the one that off my YouTube channel, or are you a different Martha? Welcome to our channel, Elvis Presley Fan on Keto.
When his Vegas engagements at the Hilton and all?
And on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was grueling, sort of a grueling lifestyle. It was interesting, and I don't regret any of it.
And did you adjust to his schedule?
I did, yeah.
Let me just go back a little bit. I want
these awful sandwiches, banana.
I want to just go back on this bit.
That's a good.
I just want to go back. I want to listen to when they talk about what he would eat
It wasn't an in-person engagement.
We talked about this backstage. It wasn't.
Did he really do that?
Oh yeah.
Didn't he like Bob?
No, it wasn't that he didn't like Bob. It was just that I'm sure there was snow in the TV set or whatever. Maybe it was a bad picture. He was.
So he just shoot the
He
set
was
out and
crazy.
get
He
me
had a
another one?
nickname on his ID bracelet. Crazy. That was his nickname because he would do kind of crazy things like.
I've never heard that before. She just said he had the nickname on his bracelet, Crazy. That's the first time I've ever heard that. Has anyone else ever heard that?
That with guns. He was a grown-up child with grown-up toys. You know.
That describes it perfectly.
Yeah.
What about his diet? Was it as ridiculous as I read that he was hooked on?
See the way he uses the word ridiculous? Then he uses the word hooked. I don't like it. It's all about making Elvis look bad.
These awful sandwiches, banana and peanut butter,
banana,
and he would
yeah.
deep fry them and.
I don't see what the big deal is about frying peanut butter and banana. What's the big deal? I don't understand what the big deal is. What, it's not poison. It's a banana and it's peanut butter. Now, what is wrong with bananas and what is wrong with peanut butter? So I don't see why people make such a big deal of it.
Butter?
Yeah. They're great, aren't they? They're so good.
Yeah, unless you swallow them, they're terrific.
But they're not the best thing in the world for you to have all the time. No, he did have a very poor diet. Too many eggs, too much pork, and too much.
Poor diet. Remember, we're called Elvis Presley fan on keto. I know what. Obviously, you guys know I'm carnivore and I'm keto. So eggs are not a poor diet, and pork. Well, it's not the best quality meat, pork, but it's still meat. It's better than eating sweets and chocolates. Let's keep going.
Too much beef, not enough fish and chicken. He never ate fish, as a matter of fact.
And did you go with him at his Vegas engagements at the Hilton and all?
And on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was grueling, sort of a grueling lifestyle. It was interesting, and I don't regret any of it.
And did you adjust to his schedule?
I did, yeah. I'm a very adaptable person, and in the beginning it was it was easy to adapt to that lifestyle, but after a while it just became so bizarre and so abnormal. I think anytime you lose touch with what is normal in this life, you won't find happiness.
In the 4.5 years of that relationship, did he ever say anything to you like "I love you," or did he ever ask you to marry him? Did he ever ask you to marry him?
We discussed marriage, yeah.
And why didn't it come off?
Elvis.
See, this is new for me as well. Guys, do you know anything about this? They discuss marriage. I haven't read all the book. Did they discuss marriage? Is it true? Were they planning to get married? I've heard all about it with Ginger Alden. But I've never really heard about it with Linda. You guys tell me. Leave it in the comments, please.
Elvis didn't like the word wife. He loved the idea of having a family, the security and the stability of a family life. And he viewed Lisa and me and his dad and his grandmother as his family. But he didn't like the word wife. Somehow that represented confinement to him and restrictions that he didn't want to have in his
But do you know what? I'm not so sure about that. Do we agree with that? Let me just listen to that little bit again. I want to hear that again.
Did he ever say anything to you like "I love you," or did he ever ask you to marry him? Did he ever ask you to marry him?
We discussed marriage, yeah.
And why didn't it come off?
Elvis didn't like the word wife. He loved the idea of having a family, the security and the stability of a family life. And he viewed Lisa and me and his dad and his grandmother as his family. But he didn't like the word wife. Somehow that represented confinement to him and restrictions that he didn't want to have in his life.
Now, does she mean confinement and restrictions for him, for Elvis? Is that what she means? I'm a bit unsure about that comment. I do understand he was with Linda quite a while, especially the first year. So I can see that Linda was his way away from Priscilla. Priscilla had really treated him disgustingly. I have strong views about how Priscilla treated Elvis, the way she ran off with Mike Stone, the karate champion, after already being unfaithful with the dance instructor, Steve Peck. But I can see that Elvis would have regarded Linda and Lisa as family. I can see that. But we know things went a bit pear-shaped. Elvis eventually wanted to move on. Some say that Linda was in a very difficult situation because of the prescribed medication. Elvis was a very strong-minded person, wanted to do things his way. So it's I think if we read this, we may get a better feel for what really went on.
Yes, Bob.
I have a question about his music. Did he listen to a lot of other musicians and songwriters and
Primarily country music.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
That's funny. She says he loved country music. We know that he loved country music and was one of the main musics that he loved. But he loved all music, didn't he? He blended all the musics, rhythm and blues and jazz, all of it. He loved all of it. So Pat says he never wanted to get married. I agree. He just wasn't ready for marriage. I actually don't think he was ready to marry Priscilla. I think all of it was very forced. A lot of pressure. Trying to do the right thing. Trying to please everyone. I don't really think Elvis was ready to get married. Now, maybe in his 40s, he may have started to calm down, settle down, and start thinking seriously about getting married. But in his 30s, I just don't think so. I just don't think Elvis was ready.
Because he started the whole rock thing, you know? But he primarily liked country music and gospel music. And that's where his...
Yeah, we know he absolutely adored gospel music. I love gospel music. I could listen to it all day. It soothes my soul, gospel music. Elvis's gospel music, the best.
I saw him perform once at the Hilton, and the Colonel was his manager was a very, very sharp man, and it still is for that matter. But he was smart enough to have Elvis' show between our shows on the Strip, so that he invited every star on the Strip. And so we went and sitting there watching him perform. First person I ever saw turn his back to an audience, and you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
He worked a lot to the band.
Yeah, he
didn't
did.
He broke a lot of rules, and of course they worked for him.
But a terrific showman. He was a terrific showman.
And he was beginning to have a weight problem then.
And I do agree that he really did treat the fellow band members with total respect. The backing singers, such a special relationship with them. Elvis really did take musicians very seriously and really respect them. Now, he's now going to go on to try and have a dig about Elvis putting on a bit of weight. Let's just hear what he's got to say.
And I saw him do something very unusual. We took a piece of music by, we'll appreciate this. Perry Como was in the audience. Took a piece of music and he sang Call Me Irresponsible off of the sheet music.
Call Me Irresponsible? Really?
Not Call Me Irresponsible. It's Impossible. It's Impossible,
yeah.
Which was Perry Como's song. He didn't make reference to the fact that any of us were there.
No.
Never introduced a single soul. Ed Sullivan, the late Ed Sullivan was there. A lot of people in the audience. Steve and Edie were there. And but I was so fascinated by turning the back to the audience, and they loved it. And he's the only person to ever fill that room.
He could almost do anything, you know, and his fans accepted it. He has tremendous fans still. You know, they're still in existence.
People literally came from all over the
Sure
world
does.
to see him, and they
He
would
never got to tour Europe.
Now, that's better. People literally came to his shows from all over the world. He filled every stadium or wherever it was always sold out. Now, he keeps going on about Elvis turning his back. It sounds like it bothered Michael Douglas, but I like the praise. This is what we want more of. This is why on our other channel, Defending Elvis Presley, we defend Elvis, because we want to hear the good stuff. We want to hear the good stuff. So generally, I think Linda has done a good job defending Elvis. A couple of bits I didn't like that she said, but overall, I think she's been very fair.
And it's so fascinating that he has such tremendous fan clubs there still.
In England. He never went to England. They loved him. They worshipped him. In England.
I'm in the UK, obviously, Britain. I'm a British man. We would have loved it if Elvis had come to England. Wow, and Elvis really loved his British fans and would love to have come to England. And I think he spoke about it his whole life. We have a representative called Todd Slaughter, who used to take coaches of fans to Graceland, to Tupelo, I think it's like 12 coaches. They would even do tours of Graceland with Colonel Tom Parker. Todd Slaughter, the original Elvis Presley defender. Look him up, Todd Slaughter.
He introduced me once, but I had gone to the men's room.
Did he shoot at you?
Oh, that's the night he said, here he is, Jerry Vale? Is that no, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. What was this? Go ahead.
I've seen a lot of entourages and bodyguards and such like. And it seems to me that most of their job is keeping the job, you know. Most of their job is causing things to do. Yeah, and if you're going to, if I get hired to protect someone in the middle of the desert when there's no one else around, I'm going to protect him, okay? And I did hear a story once before Elvis started touring again, before he was making his PAs again. that he said, I can't go out in public, I can't appear because people will go crazy. I'm afraid of for my life or what have you. And the guy took him outside of this office building or this place, and they stood on the street for a couple of hours and no one knew who he was.
My father had that same problem. When he was at an event or some kind of a, situation where there were a lot of people, he would instantly get recognized. But it was
we've been
possible
shopping
for him to
before.
go
I wonder who her father is. Obviously someone famous, yeah?
shopping. And people would say, but they would,
Right. It's interesting because it really doesn't happen with a lot of other people like that. Frank Sinatra, I mean, who's bigger than Frank Sinatra? He goes out, he
But
can.
see, everyone thinks he's
Elvis was bigger than Frank Sinatra. Come on.
tall. And then
But it was very interesting. We went out shopping a couple of times and we would have to run for the car.
how tall was Elvis?
Elvis was about 6'1", almost 6'1".
He was a big man.
Yeah, he was.
I heard an interesting story just the other day. A man named Jerry Weintraub, who handled all of Elvis's tours. I said, how in the world, because I had read that Elvis didn't want to do tours, how in the world did you talk him into doing these tours? And he said, well, it was easy. The first thing I said to him was, there's a guy getting awfully big out there who's cutting in on your territory by the name of Tom Jones. And Elvis, without a breath, said, I'll do the tour. Is that, and I'm sure that's
I don't know
true.
if that's true.
But he
might very well
reached
be.
his ego with that
Yeah.
remark. Was there a thing? Because I know...
He and Tom Jones were very good friends.
I think that Michael Douglas literally is talking crap. They were really close friends. There was no rivalry there. They just loved being amazing, both of them.
Very good friends, but he liked him a lot. He liked his singing a lot. And
He was a very giving man. He
Very
gave
giving, yeah,
gifts to
very generous.
everybody. He'd meet
That's
somebody
more
and
like
hand
it.
him a sapphire ring.
yeah,
And
or
never,
a car.
never met him.
Yeah, it's incredible. But that was.
Talked to him on the phone once.
Did you?
At Muhammad Ali's house, yes. It was
Yeah,
very
he-
interesting. In your opinion, what did he die of?
Well, I have no reason to doubt what the doctor said, that it was a massive coronary.
Was he into dope?
No, it's so unfair that so much has.
Oh, he's really digging in. He's like, was he into dope? What did he die of? He really wants blood and guts. She's brilliant. She's defending him. In my opinion, it was a coronary heart attack. That's respectful. I love that. Don't forget, this is just after Elvis passed. I think this is 1978, guys.
Been said about that. If Elvis had a problem at all, it was with sleeping medication because it's very difficult to control.
Difficult sleeping?
He had a lot of difficulty sleeping. From the time he was a child, he suffered from insomnia. So you can imagine the pressures from the time he was 19 on. So he did have a lot of trouble sleeping, and sleeping medication is very difficult to control.
Indeed.
See, I like that. She's defending him, see? Elvis had serious insomnia from a child. He had the worst kind of insomnia. So Michael Douglas is trying to push to make Elvis, portray Elvis as some kind of drug addict, but she's in there. Linda Thompson, you got to give her her dues, saying, no, he had some serious problems with medication, with sleeping problems. So she's there defending him. I like that.
So if he had a problem at all, it was with that. But it's not fair to say that he was a drug addict or that he had.
Yes, Linda, you get my votes. Linda. See, I love that. I love that.
No problem.
Was he ill when you were with him?
No, he wasn't ill. There was a time I woke up one morning and I knew that something was wrong.
Is that it? Is it?
Crush. They don't know.
I think that might be the end of it. Let's have a look. Tommy. So there is a beginning bit. Let me just go back to the beginning. This guy does talk about knowing Elvis. Let's just play a little bit of it. So overall, I thought Linda was very good. She didn't hardly say anything bad. I know that she does say a few things in this book that I wish she didn't. But generally, Linda gets a good vote from me. I know you guys have got complicated views on Linda, so I like her. I think Linda's great. So let's just play a bit of this and see what comes out.
You've been here many times. Did you visit with him much?
So this man, I don't know who this man is, but he's going to talk about Elvis. He was friends with Elvis. Do any of you guys know who this man is?
Oh, yes, very often. He used to play 4 weeks in a row, then in the last 2 years, a minimum of 2 weeks, and we visited.
Were you really friendly with the man?
Very friendly. He was very friendly with us.
I think maybe his biggest problem was that he was so guarded that he lost track of reality and what was going on.
He lived a life which, of course, it's unusual. I got to agree with that. But on the other hand, he was so popular that it was very difficult for him to be in any place, not being bothered. So that was the only way they could get away from all the crowd.
Which of your headliners stay here now that Elvis is no longer here?
Oh, we have Liberace, the Osmond family. We have John Davidson, Stephen Eady. Bob Hope comes here. There's a lot of
wonderful.
So, so because he just answered that question, I'm guessing he's the owner of the hotel. Which hotel is it?
That's the place.
Was Elvis impressed with this suite, Henry?
Yes, because he came here and it was built for him.
I'm told that he liked red, and he asked you to redecorate.
We redecorated
So he just said it was built for him. Is it the Hilton?
the room which he studied in, and his bedroom was very lavish red, and
This is very tastefully decorated.
Thank you.
I think most people who have good taste in this...
that's a home, actually. It
It's
has
so
a kitchen,
large.
it has 5 bedrooms, has everything.
Let's sit down. I want to
Thank
talk
you.
to you. This I recognize immediately.
So Dan's just said it's the manager.
He used to give these away. He'd wipe off his brow and then throw
100,
them.
200 in each performance or more.
And did you supply these for him?
No, he give them to me.
And on it says Elvis Presley, and there's the Hilton insignia. That's pretty nice.
Colonel Parker.
And I just look at that room, and that was Elvis's suite, wasn't it? That's where he would stay whilst getting ready for performances. So Elvis would have sat on those very chairs, yeah?
Was very much interested in having great momentums, the atmosphere of variety and
Kind
circus.
of a carnival
That's
atmosphere
right.
when I...
And that went with it. They came in 9 colors, and my wife has every color.
I noticed there are 4 other bedrooms other than the main bedroom, which we're going to see shortly. Who stayed there? And the other 4 bedrooms?
Oh, there were...
When he was there, I mean.
There were his father, Vernon, and his wife visited him often, and his daughter came. And then there were a great deal of friends.
Anyone ever try to break into this suite when he was here?
No, that wouldn't have been possible.
The elevator goes to the 30th floor.
Yeah, but we eliminated all traffic with the exception of one, and that one was guarded.
Now, he could not possibly walk to that elevator as you and I didn't, just go downstairs.
There's a special door to one.
A single elevator?
Yeah.
And he would go down into the kitchen, backstage
That's
area?
right, yes.
Fascinating, guys,
Did he use
fascinating.
this kitchen in the suite as a dining room, or?
Yes,
Did he use it much?
He liked junk food. Yes, is that what they call it?
Yes.
And
Like what? What junk food?
hamburgers. I think it's good food. We have the McDonald's.
You have the whole
hotel, so
convention. Yeah.
I think I should say it's gourmet food. They are good customers.
I read that he used to take bread and I believe peanut butter and bananas.
This man is obsessed with the peanut butter and banana sandwiches. What's the big deal? I think it sounds tasty to me. What is wrong with bananas and peanut butter? Nothing wrong with it at all. I don't understand that this guy keeps bringing it up.
And would French deep fry peanut butter and banana sandwiches. And that he had a...
He did that too, but you know, he was very friendly with the help, and they liked him, and he knew everyone. So he called
Yes, we like that. See, this guy, the owner of, or the manager of the Hilton, he likes Elvis. You can tell. He likes Elvis. But Michael Douglas, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Around and told him what he wants to have. And if there's any idea he had something, he wants something else, Colonel Parker is one of the great managers, not only for an artist, but he can arrange everything.
He didn't handle anyone else when he had Elvis, did he?
He never handled anything, no. Full-time job.
Does he have anyone now since Elvis is gone?
No, still Elvis.
So this guy here, the manager of the hotel, must be the one depicted in the Baz Luhrmann film. Yeah, Dan, do you agree with that? Dan? You know, where they sit round and he's got a tablecloth and they write the deal down for the amount of money to get Vegas to perform, to get Elvis to go to Vegas in '69, yeah? We've seen the footage of when it's getting built. Elvis goes there and signs a contract. I don't think that was the original contract. I think it was done for show. But this guy must be the guy depicted in the Baz Luhrmann Elvis film. Is that right, Dan? What do you think?
I understand the records and the movies are doing such tremendous business all over the world.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
he must have an enormous income from that alone.
I think if we would advertise on our billboards outside Elvis Presley was here, we would draw more business than what we put out there, what we got here.
We'll be right back with Henry Lewin right after this message.
So guys, have any of you seen this before? Because this is quite a rare interview, this is like, I haven't hardly ever seen this before. Most people, I would say, have not seen this interview. 1978. Mike for you. Is that what it's called? More Mike for you. Mike, you get a no-no from me, mate.
I remember coming to an opening night.
Right, so they're in Nashville, yeah?
Elvis is here. And I was at the time playing Las Vegas myself. And it was like a carnival atmosphere. Everybody was walking around with hats on. It said Summer with Elvis or something. And they were selling albums.
So when he says he was playing Las Vegas himself, what does he do in Las Vegas? Was he a singer? Is he a comedian? Why would he be in there?
And teddy bears and things in the lobby. Did Colonel Parker create that atmosphere?
That's his life. That man is absolutely a phenomenon in regards to type of promotion. He knows exactly what he wants to do, and he plans it to every detail.
I gotta ask you something. I'm looking at that fixture over there, and there's a story. The story goes, according to some gentlemen I had on my show who are bodyguards of his, who, by the way, say they will submit to a lie detector test to substantiate the things that they've said. But Elvis sat on that black couch over there and took a pistol and shot out those lights. Do you have any knowledge of that?
All I can tell you is this. If everything they say it's true, and I have no reason not to say it is not true because I was not involved in their private life or whatever they talked about, but Elvis was a very charming, low-key type of a person.
I like that. I like that. This guy likes Elvis. He obviously likes Colonel Tom Parker. Come on, Colonel Tom Parker was good and bad, wasn't he? He was good and bad.
I would not allow anybody to take a pistol and shoot around when people are there. But if they were both alone here and they shot, then they must have fixed the wall the same time they shot it, because otherwise I would have known about it.
Mm-hmm.
And for the protection of himself and other guests in the hotel, we would have made a protest. Now, if they did it and fixed it, I would know.
Well, the story goes that when he did that,
It jumped off the
a
chandelier.
bullet went through that wall and almost killed his girlfriend, who was in that bath.
I
Behind that
believe
wall.
the story better now because the first story is not dramatic enough. It has to go now into the room,
And
kills
almost
the
killed.
girlfriend, and makes me fall off the chair in the basement.
Sorry, guys, dogs are barking. Postman's delivering. So Ella, come on. So he's saying that the whole thing has been exaggerated. I believe that. I think this has all been blown out of proportion.
There's also a story that one night he was literally climbing the walls in that bedroom.
So, I know what he's talking about. He's talking about what was written in this book, I think, chapter 1, after Elvis finds out about Mike Stone, when Elvis is demanding that Mike Stone be killed. So, I just think this guy, Michael Douglas, is just dig. My thing to Michael Douglas is, what did Elvis do to you? Why so harsh to Elvis? Why can't you talk about the good stuff?
When he called his bodyguards and said, "You've got to get rid of this man. It's driving me crazy. He's brought more unhappiness into my life than I can deal with, and he's got to die." And he asked his bodyguards.
Come on, Elvis didn't mean it. It's just, he was so angry. You got to think about it, guys. This situation with Mike Stone, the karate champion, was bloody humiliating. The whole world watched as Priscilla walked off, demanding a divorce with his daughter, Lisa Marie. It was a very public affair as well. I know they did it secretly for a year, but then eventually when it all came out, could you imagine how embarrassing it was for Elvis? The whole world is watching Elvis. This is in all the tabloids, in all the TV clips, magazines. I'm not surprised that Elvis was infuriated. I'm not surprised at all. And all because Priscilla fancied another man, the karate champion, Mike Stone, bearing in mind she'd already been unfaithful with Steve Peck, the dancing instructor, just after Lisa Marie was born. So Priscilla has a lot to answer for.
Call somebody to handle the job for him and get rid of, I think the fellow's name is Mike Stone.
You mean the karate?
The karate expert, yes.
My wife has moments like that, too. When I'm in Las Vegas and she's in San Francisco and she says, if this man doesn't come home soon, I'm going to kill him. These are phrases. I must say to you, it's a personal opinion. Elvis is a sex symbol. You know, was a good-looking man. And every woman looked at him. Even if they didn't mean the way it looked to us, it looked that way. And all of a sudden in the newspapers is that his wife left him for another man. Maybe he was upset. And if he says, if I get my hand on the man, I kill him, or you kill him for me, I don't know what the so-called bodyguard told him. I'm going to do it for you?
No.
See, I like this. He's defending Elvis. This is what we want more of. I love it. You stand up for your friend.
Elvis finally changed his mind and said,
You don't have to kill him.
you don't have to kill him.
Well, that was nice.
Nah. There were a lot of parties given up here, weren't there?
Come on, anyone that thinks Elvis is capable of killing doesn't know Elvis. He's a very a devout Christian, a very decent, kind, forgiving, loving man. He would not even for a second was he going to go through with that. I personally think it's all been exaggerated for the book, to be honest with you.
When he was here,
Yes.
Anyone ever get hurt?
No, there was once a lady slipped and sprained her ankle, and they were very concerned. Elvis was not even in the room.
When it happened?
It was an opening party. It was nothing, but publicity goes out. It was always very, very sensitive.
What was she doing at the time?
They danced. They danced.
Oh.
They danced, and they had a good time. But there were so many people in here. They were invited. It was like an opening night. They had it first downstairs in the dressing room, and then people were invited here. It was just that, like you said in the first statement, anything connected with Elvis had to be dramatic. If I would do the same thing,
Nobody'd even print it.
nothing.
Maybe with you, but with me, they wouldn't print it.
You got to be careful too.
I know what a busy man you are, Henry, and I thank you for this visit, allowing us to invade this beautiful suite.
Well done, Henry. We've just worked out his name. Henry. Henry, if I met you, I would shake your hand. You defended Elvis beautifully. Michael Douglas.
We thank you. You make us popular, Mike. Vern is always worried every year to make sure that you return. You had today as many people than Elvis had.
Will there ever be another Elvis?
You did it. Today when I came...
It's funny, will there ever be another Elvis? This was like, think about it, 47 years ago, 46 years ago. There will never be another Elvis. Come on, they're just about to make another film about him, the documentary with Baz Luhrmann. There will never be another Elvis. 50 years later, 90 years after his birth, 70 years after his fame, come on. He's overshadowed everyone, even the Beatles. Even the Beatles. He is bigger than all of them.
I came to the lobby and saw all the lines. I showed Elvis's back, and then I said, "There's Mike."
Will there ever be another man like that, another entertainer?
I don't think so. You see, Houdini was one.
Henry.
Elvis is one. They, you know, like Rudolph Valentino.
That's right.
They just don't, it just comes every once in a while, but I don't think in our lifetime.
Thank you, Henry, very much.
Thank you.
That was good. That was good. Well, Henry, thank you. I think we'll keep going a bit longer, guys. I think they show the car now. I'm pretty sure they show off one of Elvis's cars. Is it going to work? Let's try it. Here we go. Here we go. So they talk about the car.
Someone always drive Cadillacs?
It's funny. Someone told me a story about this Cadillac. I was listening to one of the Memphis Mafia. I think it was Billy Stanley, obviously, who was around, yeah? And he said this, when Elvis owned this Cadillac, it was white. It was, and that Elvis didn't like purple cars. He liked the purple jacket, but he didn't like purple cars. So this was originally white. A lot of people don't know this.
No, Elvis drove a lot of cars. He drove Continentals, but whenever he first got started, Cadillacs was a thing at that time. And so he definitely was a Cadillac person.
That's the lights.
Oh.
And the battery's down, isn't it? We're not helping today. Did it have a good radio in it?
Yes, it's got a good radio in it.
What kind of fur is that? Did you find out?
I don't know.
Not lamb's
I don't
wool,
know.
is it?
We ordered it from South America. Now, Jimmy Sanders of Memphis, Tennessee, is the one that actually customized this car for Elvis to start with.
Interesting.
And so we
Jimmy
got in touch with
Sanders.
him and had him to help us in the restoration. Of course, we did a lot of research to make sure that we knew what we were doing too.
Are you in a mood now to sell this? Or
No.
You still have the same feeling you're going to keep it?
I feel like
Could you imagine how much that's worth now, guys?
I'll keep it. I have 4 fine sons, and I hope that I can pass it on to them. And
Do you collect cars?
I don't collect them. I am in the car business, but I don't collect cars.
But you sell new cars, is that
Yes,
the idea?
uh-huh.
And this is just a...
Is that the right mileage, 38,000?
38,000 is the correct
Original for
mileage.
1956?
That's right.
Do you drive this at all now?
We drive it on rare occasions, but unless, you know, we have escorts, we never put it on the street. And we have to have somebody in front or and the rear to make sure, you know, that
Jim,
nothing
thank you for
happens.
bringing it down to
You're
show
quite
our
welcome.
viewers. I appreciate it very much.
Look, Michael Douglas actually had a 2-minute chat without belittling and putting Elvis down.
We'll be right back with David Sheehan right after this.
I think that might be it, guys, because obviously when it gets to Linda Thompson, we've already watched that. Let's just see what happens. Clint Eastwood, come on.
Hill.
Right, okay, so we know that the Linda Thompson interview, April the 12th, 1978. So not that long after Elvis passed.
Friends Linda Thompson and the
Right, let's just see her walk in, then we're going to have to go, guys. We're going to have to end it. But thank you for joining me, guys. In the end, we did an hour, didn't we? Let's have a look. Nearly an hour. I was only going to do 20 minutes. We've done nearly an hour. So thank you, everyone, for joining me. Elvis Presley fan on Keto. We will be doing some defending Elvis Presley on the other channel a bit later on, guys. So thanks for joining me here. Obviously, here we like to keep it a bit light-hearted on Elvis Presley fan on Keto. So I'm looking for members. Please become members. It's only $3. If you like what I do, get us a coffee, hit the super thank you, and give us a thank you. I really appreciate it. Let's just see Linda walk in, and I'm going to have to say goodbye, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks everyone for helping. Dan and Evelyn, thank you for this information you gave us. It was very, very helpful. Thank you.
Probably the biggest influence on American music in the last 20 years was that of the King, Elvis Presley. We were all fascinated with the incredible career of that great showman. He was a curious mixture of spectacle, soul, and raw energy. Our next guest knew Elvis well. She lived with him for 4.5 years as his lover, confidant, and friend. And I know you'll be interested in her story. Here is, and welcome her, please, Linda Thompson.
We like Linda. She's beautiful.
Weren't you a former beauty queen?
Of sorts.
What, Memphis?
I was Miss Tennessee University.
Oh, Miss Tennessee. How did you meet Elvis?
I met him in '72. I was Miss Tennessee University at the time, and my girlfriend was Miss Rhode Island. She had just moved to Memphis, and we were planning to get a job and go to work and become roommates. And
Okay, guys, we've already watched this. So if you want to watch this part of the interview, it's at the beginning of this live stream. So I've loved it, guys. We had a great time. What a beautiful body. Emily. She is stunning. She is stunning. I think she's fat. She still looks great now. Okay, guys, we'll be back. The next video we do will be defending Elvis Presley. We'll do some defending over there on the other channel. So please pop over there a bit later. And we will be doing more here. The next one we do here will probably be on Carnivore and Keto. Thanks, guys. You've been great. Really enjoyed it. I've loved it, actually. We've had a great hour together. Take care, guys. And please remember to subscribe and like. It really helps me out. And, wow. That, guys, that is a very rare interview. A very rare interview. And I'm so glad I came across it. I think for many people, that is the first time that most people would have seen this interview. Just after, April 1978, guys. Very rare, I think. It's a shame about Michael Douglas, the way he's so negative about Elvis. But Henry and Linda and even the other guy that, you did say his name to me, I'm forgetting his name. Even the other guy, they were lovely. They were